people come in, I tell them, I'll sell them a secret for $2 and give them a stick. Say, yep, where's yours? Say, yep, goes back the other way.
He loved Fenelon, he loved people, and he loved doing whatever he could to help.
He was one of the founding people that made this town a better place.
Garnet Graham had a way about him that was an attractive way. He was a fine-looking gentleman, not too tall, and he did remind you a little of Santa. And he could talk to the children, and he'd always have a way of bending towards the child, stepping back when he did it. So he wasn't approaching them. You didn't feel threatened by him. You actually wanted to go in to him. I never ever saw a child cry or get fussy around Garnet Graham. It was like almost like an instant respect between an elder and the young.
Garnet's appeal to children was that he didn't speak to them like they were children. He spoke to them as if they were on the same level, in a tone, in a fashion that it wasn't threatening. He was very friendly.
Well, I think pretty well all kids knew Garnet Graham. He was a fixture at the beach in Fenelon Falls, and in the summertime, if you wanted some entertainment, you would go down to the beach, and sure enough, there would be Garnet with his concoctions of inventions. His kind of magic tricks we all were mesmerized by, and really important piece of his character that kids flocked around him. Like, he literally would have little crowds around him at the beach, and you'd see him on the main street, and he'd bring out the Yip Stick, and everybody was always really enthralled by him. And I always thought it was really neat that he had that wonderful personality that kids could relate to.
Say, yep, it goes back the other way. Can you say yep?
Yep.
Yep, where's yours? Your yep.
The Yip Stick in Fenelon Falls is like an invention of fascination. You never really knew how it got going and how it's changed directions and how you can spin it one way and then you can spin it another way. It was almost like his trade secret.
What he would do is he'd take a little stick of wood. There's a propeller on the end of it, a little stick with a nut to sit, and over the teeth of the wood. And he'd go, okay, watch it, and he'd get the propeller spinning. And then he'd go, yip, and it would go backwards. Everybody was astonished by it. Like, how could he do that?
And he would show it to you and you'd say, okay, now you do it. And you would do it, you'd say, yip, and it's not working. Well, it's magic. So he had the sense of the Yip Stick was magic.
And we studied it, and there is, you can do it, but it's just a trick. And it's got to do with your thought.
My first introduction to Garnet. He took me one day down to the beach and said, come on, I'll show you a little bit about the village of Fenelon Falls. We went down to the beach, and he told me at the time that he always bought sand for the beach. I said, that must cost you a lot of money. He said, no. I said, it wasn't that much. He said it was only $3 or $4 a load. Well, then he was telling me that he knew of the jackets, and so they'd bring down a load of sand and fill it in for me every year.
To visit his garage was like walking into a little toy store almost. He had various little trinkets and wood toys. It was just fascinating being, you know, a little kid and seeing all the wonderful things.
He was just so harmless and just loved people and just wanted to spread joy with everyone and raise money for all the things that he did around the village. I don't know how many times his Yip Stick money repainted the inside of the arena.
I remember his big case that had different charities in it, And if you ever did buy a Yip Stick or any other trinkets he had, you could choose what charity he wanted to give it to.
He loved playing with the kids. Like, he loved showing them how the Yip Stick worked, and his favorite was Bobby Boo.
Bobby Boo was this little black wire-haired terrier who had so much personality, and he and Garnet were great foils for each other. Bobby Boo would do somersaults and jump, and Garnet would tell him to climb the tree, and Bobby Boo would run up and back down, and it was just like the two of them had this act that was rehearsed. You know, it was priceless. It was really something to see, and kids were fascinated by this dog. He was so smart, and he was so receptive, and he was great with kids as well. But when he and Garnet teamed up for the show, it was really, really entertaining. They were quite a team.
In 1986, the mayor of Fenelon decided that the park should be named after Garnet.
When they named the park after him, it just made my heart swell. It was the best thing they could have named after him, because he spent so much time down there. That's where he met so many people and, you know, acquainted them with the village and got them to know about Yip Sticks, and Bobby was doing his tricks and climbing his tree, and that really was his place. And so to have that park named after him, I'm sure it just, you know, it's such a tribute that his family appreciates. That it was just a really wonderful gesture.
This year, I went down to the park, to Garnet Graham's park, and I saw his picture, and I remembered the Yip Stick song that I wrote, and I remember all the good times. And I saw his picture, and I said, his dreams came true. Everything he said he was going to do came true. You know, he got older. He lost a few things, but he never lost Garnet Graham. We never lost Garnet Graham. He's here today. He's here today in everything you see down there at that beach. Yep, that's what my favorite memory is.